Jeremiah Smith continues to prove that his dedication and work ethic are as elite as his talent.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we'll dive into Carlos Lachlan's challenge for the Buckeyes RB room, as well as one player that is fully bought in. But first, Jeremiah Smith is one of those guys that gets a lot of attention. His elite talent, it's easy to see when he's out on the football field. And there are some guys that are talented like Jeremiah Smith that don't have the dedication or work ethic to be the best at their craft. Well, Jeremiah Smith has both of those because, once again, he was named an Iron Buckeye, and this time it was for winter workouts. And Jeremiah Smith leading the way, as well as Sonny Styles and Austin Siereveld, are the other two guys that receive that high honor for their work during winter workouts. Those three guys are not only leaders at Ohio State, but they're also three guys that are putting in the work right now to be in the best shape during the season. Jeremiah Smith is so much fun to watch. I mean, we can talk about the things that he has done last year, but last year's in the past. He can't ride on the things he did on the field a year ago to help him right now during spring practice or to help him during winter workouts. You can't rely on the past to help you in the present. And Jeremiah Smith isn't doing that. He is consistently working and consistently grinding to be in the best shape he can be in, to be the sharpest he can be with his mind, to help all the other players be the best they can be. And he is doing that over and over and over again. And that mindset is not something that is new for him at Ohio State. He had that in high school, and that is just something he is continuing to have with him at Ohio State and build upon while he's in Columbus, Ohio. And Ryan Day is very fortunate to have Jeremiah Smith. But Brian Hartline now leading the Buckeyes offense, he can point to Jeremiah Smith and say, that guy might be the best receiver in the country. Or you can say he is the best receiver in the country. And while that is true, he is still working harder than everybody else there. And when you're working harder while also being super, super talented, that's going to push some other people to follow in his footsteps, to follow the leader, you might want to say. And you can follow Jeremiah Smith. But let's go to Sonny Styles, a guy who is a Block O candidate right now and is probably going to be a captain in the fall. Sonny Styles is another guy that when he transferred and made the transition to playing linebacker, it was very, very clear that he was going to have to get his weight up. Like literally, not figuratively just trying to make a statement to be funny. No, literally he was going to have to get his weight up. But also try to keep his quickness, also trying to keep his sharp mind, also trying to do all the things to make him the player that he is. And Sonny Styles once again earns Iron Buckeye honors for the third cycle in a row. Jeremiah Smith go back to him for a second, became the first ever true freshman to earn Iron Buckeye honors for Mickey Mariotti during last year's summer workouts. So these are two guys that are doing this again. Jeremiah Smith did it in his first summer. Sonny Styles have done it 3 cycles in a row. These are the kind of leaders that Ryan Day wants on the team. That the Buckeyes need. You need leaders like this. Guys that have started before, that are planning to start again, and are not just going to sit back and let other guys lead the way. They're not going to let somebody else try to set the standard. No, they are setting the standard for everybody. Now, they don't play the same sides of the ball, but that doesn't mean anything. If you're on offense, you can look at Sonny Styles and say, yeah, we don't have to go out on the field with him, but he is leading that side of the ball. And when we do go 11 on 11, I want to go at that guy. I want to take him down. I want to make him look silly. Well, to do that, I got to go harder. I got to be a better player. I have to have a sharper mind. I got to do everything I can do to make sure that I'm ready to go. And so these two guys, this in particular, is one more that we're going to dive into. And when I say the name, it's going to make a whole lot of sense why Ryan Day and Tyler Bowen, hint, hint, are utilizing this player in the way that they are. But Sonny Styles doing that right now, man, it's huge. Going into a year where he is going to be needed to lead that room. Because outside of him at linebacker, there's no other senior leader that's played a whole lot of ball, or even a guy that's played a lot of ball maybe at a different position. No. You got Arvell Reese. No more CJ Hicks. He's now playing defensive end. You got Garrett Stover and Peyton Pierce, but they're youngsters. They ain't been around a while. They don't have the wear and tear that Sonny Styles has. And they're going to need his leadership. But as they're going to need his leadership, they can look at him and follow his example. It's huge for both of these guys. You want to be able to follow somebody's example and not just follow the words they say, but to follow their actions. You can look at both of these guys and follow their actions. It'd be very, very easy. Easier than maybe you would think it would be for them to just say, oh, I'm going to sit back, put my hands in my pockets, get a little comfortable, and watch everybody else go out there and do their thing. I'm going to sit back here and act like I'm just sitting on the porch with my lemonade in my hand, watching my youngster cut the grass. My dad made that comment all the time about how he looked forward to the day when he could sit on the porch and with his cup of lemonade. He didn't really drink lemonade. He just trying to be funny. But while I cut the grass. Now, my dad did sit on the porch a little bit, but when I cut the grass, him there or not. But it was one thing that he looked forward to, just being able to relax on the porch, sit back a little bit, watch the cars drive by, and enjoy the view, but also enjoy his own offspring cutting the grass now, so my dad doesn't have to. Well, that'd be easy for those guys. Just sit back, get their drink, and watch everybody else work. That's not how this works. How this works is making sure that you as a player are doing everything you can to get better, to push yourself every single day. And Austin Siereveld is the third player to receive Iron Buckeye honors during Iron workouts. And I mentioned Tyler Bowen, and when I mentioned Tyler Bowen about this guy being in Tyler Bowen's room, and this should be no surprise that he is being utilized as kind of a Swiss Army knife for the offensive line, because Siereveld was primarily a guard a year ago. Right now, he is playing left tackle on the first couple of days of spring practice, which is no shocker, but also it's his first time being an Iron Buckeye as he competes for a shot to be a full-time starter. Last year, he wasn't a full-time starter, more of a part-time starter. But, I mean, I truly see a scenario that he starts maybe at left tackle, maybe at right tackle, maybe at left guard, maybe at right guard. I don't see a scenario where he starts at center, but if they need to cross-train him at center, he could legit play all 5 offensive line positions, which is rare. You don't really see that, and if you see it, it doesn't always go over very well. Ohio State a year ago had to move Donovan Jackson from left guard to left tackle position. I don't think he had ever played in his Buckeye career. All of a sudden, he now could be a second-round pick because of his versatility being on full display there for the Buckeyes this year. And Austin Siereveld could be the same thing. He can follow in Donovan Jackson's footsteps. He can follow and keep the same mindset in spring practice, in the summer workouts, to make sure that his body is right, to make sure that he is being a leader that Tyler Bowen needs him to be, but also with Sonny Styles and Jeremiah Smith, also with this trio. These 3 guys are not only leaders on the field, they're leaders off the field, they're leading in workouts, and they're doing what it takes to be an Iron Buckeye. And if you get that honor, just the words themselves, Iron Buckeye, you're doing something correct. Not only are these 3 guys doing something correct, CJ Donaldson is too, and he's showing everybody he is fully bought in to being a Buckeye. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now, I budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and witnessing unforgettable moments. There's nothing like experiencing a big game in person. Getting tickets shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. Game Time has a few features that make your ticket purchasing process a whole lot easier, like Game Time Picks, which is a curation that makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and a whole lot more events near you. I just checked the Game Time app, and there are amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Thank you all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Just as we just discussed, 3 players that were received Iron Buckeye honors for their work during winter workouts. There's another Buckeye that might receive Iron Buckeye honors during summer workouts. Yes, it's something I'm already trying to project in the future. And this guy is a newcomer to the Buckeyes. His name is CJ Donaldson, the West Virginia transfer, a running back that's going to split time with James Peoples. And I do think there's a true scenario that this guy could be a full-time starter for Ohio State this year. Could be a scenario where CJ Donaldson is a guy that starts half the time and then Peoples starts the other half of the time. Next thing you know, at the end of the day, both guys are fresh and both guys are 1,000-yard rushers. That'd be wild. Before I get too deep into Donaldson, that'd be wild if Ohio State had back-to-back seasons where you have 2 running backs rush for over 1,000 yards. That would be insane. Almost something that's not thought of. You can realize there could be 2 guys that could rush for 1,000 yards. Generally, it's a running back and a quarterback, a la Carlos Hyde and Braxton Miller in 2013. But you don't normally think about 2 running backs doing that in the same year. Happened a year ago between Henderson and Judkins. Not saying it's going to happen this upcoming year, but it wouldn't shock me if it did. Because this young man, CJ Donaldson, buddy, he is fully bought in. And I'm not just sitting here to say he's fully bought in just to fill space here on the show. He is already doing things right now that show that he is the kind of guy Carlos Lachlan can lean on. He's new. He hasn't been around for a while. That doesn't mean anything. He has already shown Lachlan that he is going to be a guy that you can trust. One of those reasons you can trust Carlos Lachlan is because the moment that Donaldson came into Ohio State, they tried to make sure that his weight was correct. And Lachlan talked about this. One big challenge CJ Donaldson was to do was to lose weight before spring practice. And this is a quote from Lachlan on Donaldson in regards to Donaldson's weight. Quote, he went from 244 to 226. I'm proud of him. That just shows the mindset that he has to be disciplined, to challenge himself. He looks good right now, end quote. And not Lachlan, excuse me. Donaldson went on to talk about this a little bit later and talk about how Mickey Mariotti was one of the guys that was pushing him and was saying, hey, that's going to change quickly, talking about his weight. Lachlan said he came in at 244. That, speaking of Donaldson said he came in at 243. Whatever it is, it's 1 pound off. Homie is down about 18 pounds. And he ain't been on campus since about January. So January until early to mid-March, dropping 18 pounds, that's going to help his explosiveness. That's going to help his attributes. That's going to help his mind be sharper. That's going to help a whole lot of things that are going to allow him to be a guy that's not just a short yardage or bruising type of back. No, he can hit you and kill you in various ways. It's also going to help his draft stock. Speaking of draft stock, let's go throw this nugget in here right now. Buckeyes Pro Day is scheduled for March 26th, next Wednesday. And we're going to talk about that here on the show, either that day after the Pro Day or definitely that Thursday, because Pro Days are huge. There are Buckeyes that did not work out at the Combine, and some were due to just how close the Combine was to the end of the Buckeye season. Some weren't able to due to injury, whatever the case may be. It gives them another opportunity. I'm going to protect all 32 NFL teams will be there. You can talk to them, have different types of conversations with them, not in the Combine setting, but also get your measurables, run your 40, do your bench press if you want to, do some on-field drills, and do what you can to raise your draft stock, or at worst, keep it exactly where it is right now. One thing Donaldson might want to do is keep his weight where it is right now. However, it wouldn't shock me if he got down to 223. That's 3 pounds. But 3 pounds, that's less pressure on your ankles, less pressure on your knees, your hips, all your joints, which is going to make you be a whole lot better when you're out on the field. And his mindset right now is one that has been pushed by James Peoples. As Donaldson had this to say about Peoples and how Peoples pushed Donaldson when Donaldson got to Ohio State. Quote, he's a great competitor. When I first got here in the winter, he pushed me day in and day out. I still remember this. We was doing sleds and he was kicking my butt day in and day out. But that has helped me improve my game and step up as a player, end quote. Isn't that what you want? The kind of peer pressure that pushes you to be the best you could be? The kind of peer pressure that helps you be the best player you can be? Isn't that what you want as a player? Now, some guys don't want iron to hit them because, iron sharpens iron. Some guys don't want that. Some guys want someone to kind of coddle them and kind of make them feel good when things don't go well and when they need to get pushed a little bit to go harder because there's more inside of them than they realize. And they realize, nah, man, make me feel good. I got a little stomach ache. My tummy is hurt, as some people might say. And I don't want to go harder. Some guys want that. But no, you need to be pushed. And I think about this right now before closing up shop on CJ Donaldson. It was something going around on the Instagram. I forget what St. John's game it was. That Rick Pitino was going off on his players in the locker room before, during, or maybe even after the game. But he talked about the adversity and about basically how the generation is soft and how a lot of them don't have to go overcome adversity and are weak-minded. And not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna say what he said. Homie kind of cussed his players out right there in the locker room, and that was recorded, went around the socials, and people know Rick Pitino is a no-nonsense kind of guy. The time period he came up coaching was kind of perfect because those players were great for the way that he coached and the way that he thinks. But he was correct, man. Like, y'all don't want people to push you. You don't want someone to kind of get in your way and to poke and prod and kind of help you be the best you could be. You don't want somebody to do that. No. What you want is someone to make you feel good. Well, if you want somebody to make you feel good, cool. You can go 500. You can maybe go 8-4. Make a bowl game and have your season end down there in Tampa, Florida, at the bowl that's no longer called the Outback Bowl. I have ReliaQuest Bowl. Maybe that just popped in my head. I don't know. Some people would be cool with that. The Citrus Bowl or whatever these bowl games are that you're like, hey, let's go to the Pop-Tart Bowl and eat that edible mascot. Okay, cool. What does that mean? We had a successful season. Not if you're at Ohio State. That's not successful. The way to be successful at Ohio State is to constantly be pushed, to constantly allow the players around you to help you be better. And that's Donaldson's mindset. When he realized that Peoples, who is a younger back, is pushing him day in and day out, that helps Donaldson. That's probably a big reason why homie's down 18 pounds. Could be down 20 to 25 pounds from the first day he got on campus to kick off of the upcoming season. And if that's the case, watch out. Watch out for this backfield because the law firm of Donaldson and Peoples might take you out. One thing that might take some people out is the way that Carlos Lachlan coaches his room. No, it's not a vindictive or crazy way, but he knows right buttons to push to get the best out of his players. We'll dive into that next. This episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up late watching all the tournament action, and 5-Hour Energy helps me keep up the next day. With longer days, I love getting outside for a hike or run. Tropical Burst is my go-to for a quick boost. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Thank you all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Tomorrow is the Mailbag Friday. For those of you that are listening or watching the show right now, I want to encourage everyone to subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes YouTube page. And after you subscribe, go to the community tab and you'll see the call for questions post right there on that page. And submit your questions about Ohio State football or basketball, and we'll answer all of them tomorrow on the show. Speaking of questions you might have, I'm sure some people still have questions about Carlos Lachlan and what makes him such a relatable coach to the players in his room. Lachlan is a guy that's both great as an in-game X's and O's running back coach, and also he's really good on the recruiting trail. That's not a regular combination. Some guys are great recruiters, while they're not great on-field coaches. Some guys are great on the field, and they can't recruit elite talent to save their own soul. Not trying to bring anybody down, but that's reality about a lot of coaches out there. And Lachlan is known for being a good recruiter, known for lifting up the standard of the running back rooms he coaches, which makes it no surprise that Ryan Day wanted him a year ago, took his time to find the right guy for the room, and also why Ohio State was able to sign 3 running backs in the same cycle. It's because of Lachlan. They believe in him. They trust him, and they know that Lachlan practices what he preaches. And here's a quote from Lachlan's media availability session during Wednesday's practice that speaks volumes about how Lachlan holds himself accountable while also holding the players accountable in his room. Quote, "I always tell the running backs, be intentional about what you're working on. So I have to be intentional about what I'm pouring into them. Everything starts with me. They're going to take on my mindset. And I have come out here lukewarm or with lukewarm enthusiasm. They're going to be the same way. But I don't coach that way. Every day I come out here, I attack this field. That's whether I'm feeling well or whether I'm sick. Those backs are going to feed off my personality," end quote. And you can see on social media clips going around of Lachlan coaching up the running backs, and that same thought about him preaching to the running backs. Be intentional about what you're working on. Be intentional about where your feet are. Be intentional about the things you do. Lachlan is very, very specific about that statement, and it's very clear that's how he coaches. There was a clip going around. I really enjoyed watching it. I probably watched it about 5 times, just to be honest with you. And Lachlan was going over drill. There's probably 5 or 6 bags the running backs are high stepping over, and all of a sudden there is I don't know what to call it. It's basically kind of a bridge. Not exactly sure the way to describe it, but you have to go under said bridge and then go the opposite way of the way the dummy is going when you get to that point of the drill. Well, there were numerous guys that were going through this drill. They got the high step part fine. All of a sudden, to get to the bridge and they have to go under it, Lachlan blows a whistle. And I believe the first guy I saw in this drill, Lachlan said, "Go back." And it wasn't that his pad level was too high that he wouldn't have gotten under the bridge or under the bar. No, it was the ball wasn't high and tight, and he was so big on ball security as it needs to be. I mean, you're a running back coach. Hello. Ball security is huge. But he was so big on ball security that he stopped him right there at that point in time. Said, go back. So all of a sudden, that same player, don't know the number, he went over the bags again. Lachlan blew the whistle. That guy stopped immediately. He was there at that bar. And the next thing you know, Lachlan blows the whistle again. The guy holding the dummy went to his right. The running back goes. It was to the running back's left, and the running back went right. I had to try to get the right mindset and try to get the visual in my head as I'm describing this to you on the show. The next guy goes up. You're supposed to stop on the whistle, and even if you go a little bit past the bar, you're still supposed to stop on that whistle. So this next guy goes up. He goes over the bag. Lachlan blows the whistle. He's about halfway under the bar, going back because of ball security. The intentionality of what this man is preaching right now to these young men is huge because you're practicing ball security, you're practicing pad level, practicing the high step nature of the way you're supposed to run the ball. You're practicing going the opposite way of the defender. I say that because the second guy in this drill, he ended up going back to the front of the line, going over the bags again, getting to the bar, whistle blew. Pad level was good. Ball security was good, high and tight like he wanted it. But then the next guy, the second guy in the drill that had to repeat it from the first time, he went the same way the dummy was going. So he got to the dummy went to the running back's left, and the running back went left. So a coach is already irritated because of the details not being followed. It's getting even more irritated because the end of the drill was not the way it needed to be. Him being intentional about these details now is going to help the Buckeyes in the fall. Because no matter if you are James Peoples or CJ Donaldson or one of the incoming freshmen, or even walk-on running back TC Coffey, who I think has a real shot to possibly play this year, but you also got Sam Williams-Dixon. Didn't really touch on him much. Might do another show on him later on because he returned to Ohio State for a very specific reason. I think speaks volumes about the culture at Ohio State and also ties into Bryson Rogers and that whole thing a year ago. We'll do a bonus show on that one because I think it's a little interesting to dive into. There's a lot of talent in this, lot of talent in this room. And when you have different talent and guys that have different skill sets, one thing is true about the running back position. Ball security, be intentional about every step you take. Be intentional about where your vision is, what your keys are. If you focus on being intentional while also practicing what you preach, I think you're going to have an all-around solid room. It also speaks volumes about why they almost lost a guy and the running back room would have been a little bare than all of a sudden. No, it's not. And it made me think about Ohio State's possible desire to go to the portal to get another running back. Because it's only one running back that's proven in this room. It's Donaldson, the West Virginia transfer. Outside of that, Peoples ain't proven. Sam Williams-Dixon isn't proven. And you know TC Coffey and the other running backs, they're not proven either. There's only one guy that's proven. But with the running back position, it's not one where you need experience on the offensive line or you want an experienced quarterback or things like that. When you have Peoples and you have Donaldson, I think sometimes the inexperience with the talent and the hunger and the fight, the inexperience, it's not always the worst with a running back. Now, if they had zero experience, okay, go up there and get a running back in the spring portal window. Also, if Donaldson didn't come in and show that he's fully bought in by cutting the weight and getting to be healthier, to be a different style of back, I might say go to the portal. But Donaldson already won me over as a player when he came to Ohio State. Watching his film when he was at West Virginia, thinking, okay, cool. I understand why Lachlan wants him. I don't understand the rotation. While there is no pecking order right now, great, not really mad about that. While there is no pecking order, you can kind of guess the different tiers. I think when it comes to the tiers, Peoples and Donaldson are in one tier. Williams-Dixon's in a tier by himself. myself, I put Williams Dixon, Coffey, and Bo Jackson in a tier by themselves. And then you're going to have Isaiah West and Turbo Rogers in a tier at the bottom. So there's 3 separate tiers. But while there's 3 separate tiers, you could find the hierarchy even in those tiers and realize this room's going to be okay. Lachlan knows how to lead a good room. He knows how to get the best out of the guys in said room. And for Ryan Day and Brian Hartline and Keenan Bailey and all these coaches, they are going to push and push and push to get the best out of every running back here. And I truly believe, the Buckeyes running backs, if the formula is similar to what we saw a year ago, you're going to find 2 guys be extremely fresh out there on the field. Come November into December into the playoff push. And fresh running backs are going to be huge. Offensive line depth is going to be huge. The quarterback just getting that right in general, it's going to be huge. Being able to get pressure with your front 4 on defense, it's going to be huge. Everything Ohio State's doing right now, while Lachlan's preaching attention, being intentional with your steps and with your movements, also Ryan Day's pushing, being versatile, you're going to have backs that can run between the tackles and outside the tackles. Guys that can do zone run scheme versus gap run scheme. Guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, either in on a swing pass or a screen, or going out and running routes in the route tree, whatever the case may be. You can have a well-balanced room with the running backs. It's not only following Carlos Lachlan's lead, but also Ryan Day's lead, as Day is leading the Buckeyes to work to run it back in 2025. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Now is a great time to check out the Locked on College Basketball with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton, because those are the guys that you want to follow all tournament long, as the tournament tips off today with the first round. Wall to wall, multiple channels are going to have the tournament on, and you can tap in Locked on College Basketball to get your tournament fix and to stay up to date and make sure your bracket is up to par to beat your friends, win your office pool, and have bragging rights for an entire year. You can follow Locked on College Basketball and Locked on Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you get your fine podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. It's been Locked on Buckeyes on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.